Money making money making money.
Come on, you gotta tell me, how is this even possible?
It's easy. 1, you take your money and you put it in this secret spot. 2, you let that money grow with compound interest. 3, then you find a place for that money to go where it can work for you. 4, and then every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you join me for a wealth webinar.
I'll do it.
It's free. Plus, if you join me now, you'll get my free ebook that teaches you to get all the money back for every car you buy, drive, and own. So take advantage of this opportunity and I'll see you there.
Hey, are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Private Money Club. Private Money Club is the ultimate online platform connecting real estate entrepreneurs with private money lenders just like you. Whether you're looking to fund your next deal or lend money to grow your wealth, Private Money Club is your go-to resource. You can post deals, find funding, connect with other like-minded professionals. It's just a community. It's a community that you need to plug into. If you're new to the game, no problem. Our Learn platform and our weekly coaching webinars and our on-demand resources are here to guide you every step of the way. Join a thriving network of real estate experts who are already making an impact, and they're waiting to partner with you. So Private Money Club gives you the tools, the training, the connections, and everything you need to achieve your financial goals. So why don't you start now by going to privatemoneyclub.com. We'll see you inside. Hey, you need to become your own bank. And it's as simple as changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. I mean, think about it. Household debts in this country are at all-time highs. You got tons of market volatility. You got the potential for Social Security running out of money. You've got global uncertainty, political divide, and you have to figure out where you're going to put your hard-earned savings. I mean, this is one of those times in history where the rich are getting richer, and it is time to learn the secrets of the wealthy. But here's the good news. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on a free webinar where I teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to become your own bank. So click the link below and let's get started. So let's go into the app, because the app was created after a dating site, believe it or not. So people with money and people that need money. Phone, swipe left. Swipe left. Ooh, I like that one. Swipe right. You want to go on. If you got money, you want to swipe left through all the deals. When you find one you like, boom, you're connected. How much more difficult does this really need to be? This isn't rocket science. They want you to think it is because they want control of your money. It is time to take back control of our money. I want to invite you to a free interactive webinar that we're doing to teach you how to get prepared for what's about to happen and how you can grow, preserve, and protect your wealth and get it ready for a recession or maybe the next Great Depression. So all I need you to do is click the link below. You're not going to want to miss this with all this stuff going on. Are you sick of having your money lying around not doing anything? Well, we've got the solution for you. PrivateMoneyClub.com. Back to you, Chris. So that's what it is. Private Money Club was created for you and for all of us. So I've got something special. Since you're here, you're listening to us talk to you about the infinite banking concept, I wanted to make an offer. Private Money Club is something that will benefit each of you, but we've got what's called the Accelerator. The Private Money Club Accelerator is a coaching program that takes together the knowledge that you'll need to be your own bank and puts it together with the opportunities in Private Money Club so that now you learn and apply the knowledge. Check it out. We got a very special offer for you to be part of the next Accelerator coaching program and get you into Private Money Club so your money starts working for you.
Hey everybody, it's Buff Finance Guy here, ready to show you how to make some serious gains. But not only in the gym, with your wallet too. Most people put their money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them. But I'm gonna show you how it doesn't have to be that way. So take Andrew here. His money has just been sitting lazy in the bank. But all he has to do is change one thing, and that's where the money goes first, and everything changes. Just change where your money goes first, silly.
Wait, just one change?
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sending it to the bank, you send it to your very own banking system. Your money can grow and get stronger, just like me.
It's time for Money School TV. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
He's been on the fence to come to PMC Money Take. I'm telling you right now, you're missing out on a treat.
This is the ultimate watering hole for lenders and borrowers.
If you've got decent deals, you'll find the funding for it.
The networking here has been fantastic.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Tremendously beneficial.
Oh my gosh, so many people to network with.
First day, I probably met 5 or 6 people. They show me ideas, I show them ideas. We're actually on stage about 20 minutes ago, and since then, I've already had about 20 people reach out.
There are several people that I probably will be doing business with.
I have like 15 private lenders ready to fund my deals. The people here are amazing and so welcoming.
You walk in, everyone greets you right away. No one is a stranger.
It's just an amazing and comfortable place to be.
There's so much stuff that I've been able to learn that I didn't know. I've had aha moments over and over again.
They talked about normal rates of return, not 6%, we're talking about 10%, but in a way that's ethically sound and stable. It's full disclosure, but helps walk you through everything. They even talk about it on stage of like, we've already made the mistakes, so here we are, and we're teaching you to not make the same mistakes. You get to learn from us, you get to just follow our direction and just see what you can do. I've gotten great things out of the virtual events, but there's no comparison to actually coming here, experiencing the energy, and getting to meet all of the people. Everyone is here looking to grow in some capacity. Being in this environment, it allows you to feed on that and foster that.
During the event, they had a lender-borrower meet and greet, which is pretty cool. It's different when you can spend some time, have a meal together, hang out, joke around. The people are just a blast.
It's so much fun.
The community of the Money Tank PMC, the whole crew with Chris, Stephen, Jonah, everybody, and Joe, they've all helped me out. It's been changing my life.
You're gonna learn something, you're gonna meet someone, and it's definitely gonna make a big difference in your business. Not by a little bit, but by a lot.
I mean, you could stay stuck thinking you can do it on your own. Was a lot of people that I talk to, their issue, and then they come here, and I talk to them a year later, and they've grown so much just by coming to this event.
Started $15,000 in credit card debt. As of today, I have $550,000 out in private lending. That's what this teaches you.
I tell people all the time, you have to get in the room to be around the like-minded people.
Go. It's worth it. Just come. Do it for yourself. Do it for your business.
Take action. You got to do it.
Come to the event. You don't want to miss it.
Well, the biggest thing I hope that people get is something that they can actually apply in their lives. You know, that's the biggest thing for any of these events that we want. We want people to leave here not just riled up, not just excited, but actually going out and doing something that'll put them in a better financial situation, help their family. And for the speakers, my goal is that they go out and they impact the audience and bring something the audience never had exposure to that allows them to then fill in that piece that they're looking for. I'm going to be talking about more lease options. I'm going to be talking about equity shares. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff today. Because again, I'm not here to teach about how to do those deals. I'm here to teach about how to invest in those deals.
Filled with individuals that are like-minded, that are at the top of their craft, they're at the top of their game. And for anybody that's an attendee, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
It's almost going to be hard to speak anywhere else but here because it was such a great experience. I felt like, I don't know. It was amazing. Nothing less than amazing, literally.
At the PMC Money Tank event, which is an epic event that we're putting together that does one thing and one thing only, makes everybody money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You just smash them together and everybody wins.
Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Do it live!
All right, another week, another What the F happened. Join here with Mr. Lazy Cash, getting ready for an epic show. We got Mr. St. James and Mr. Nagy. But what the hell happened this week? I mean, you got a lot of stuff, and we're going to unpack all of these, but we're not going to play political theater today. We're going to talk about the economy, things that are going to affect your paycheck. And, you know, there's a bunch of them. We just did a bunch of new videos on that, but a massive U.S. trade deal supposedly just got struck with India. Now, I remember Stephen and I covered this a long time ago, back when that was first in the talks at the early stages of this administration, but then it kind of went south. They were faced with some of the highest tariffs, but now they got a deal, or do they have a deal? Or well, we're going to unpack that. But also, precious metals are taking a nosedive. Now, I'm all about precious metals, but I think people got a little over their skis on the precious metals, because now with the new appointed Fed chair, who we're going to talk about, or the replacement for Mr. Powell, is giving the markets a little bit of an insight that, hey, maybe the US dollar is going to be okay. Hey, maybe treasuries are going to be okay. Maybe we should lighten our load on these precious metals, and they crossed a major level, which sent it nosediving. And then you got Elon Musk. Holy crap, that dude is talking about building AI data centers in space. And you know what? Maybe that's where they should be. You know, it's colder up there from what I hear. Never been in space, but I know in the airplane at 30,000 feet, it's pretty cold there. So you go another, 3 million feet up from there or something like that. It's got to be pretty cold up there. Data centers require lots of cooling. So just put them up in freaking space. And you know, who better to do that than Mr. Elon Musk? We're going to cover data centers in space. Craziness, right? And wait for it. This one really shocked me. Minivans are outselling every other vehicle on the market. That's right. They're outselling your SUVs. They're outselling all the performance cars. They're outselling the trucks. Minivans are making a comeback, baby, and you will never find one of those sons of bitches in my driveway. But Steven will probably have a couple of them out there. What's going on, Mr. Nagy?
No minivans over here, Mr. Naugle, but good morning. Happy to be here. Looking forward to getting in some of this stuff today. It sounds like a fun show that we got planned ahead. Just coming out of a 3-day weekend. We did the Money School BYOB Blueprint virtual event. It was a rocking time. How many of you guys were there? Put in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it. It was a great time. We got into a lot of economic news and strategies on the weekend, Chris. And so, you know, a lot of what we talk about on our trainings, on our shows, you know, it comes from what's going on in the overall markets and the economy. And we talk about those strategies. So it's kind of cool to see them come all together, you know, with what the F happens. But speaking of space, the NASA was supposed to launch their rocket up to the moon. The first time we're supposed to be sending astronauts back around the moon out of low space orbit. Is that what they call it? Anyway, so it's supposed to take off Friday or Sunday night this week. Unfortunate delay. They delayed it till March because of a leak that they found. So better safe than sorry, but it's cool to see American space exploration happening again. But yeah, we'll get into it. What's up, James?
Hey, what's going on? WTF, what's going on, Steve? What's going on, Chris? It's great to see everybody here. It's been a super busy weekend, and it's been trying to get ready for the Super Bowl festivities that's going to be going on for the weekend as well. Yeah, and it's always great to be able to get everything all set up with WTF World, but we've got a lot of topics to cover, and I think we should get it started with what's going on between India and the United States. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's hit it. WTF economy coming at you. Some big news. You know, when you talk about the economic condition, you talk about trade deals, you talk about all the turmoil that's been going on. I mean, when you look at world powers and you look at up and comers, India's a front runner. India, you know, has number one, the population. They've got the demographics. They've got maybe not the technology, but the ability to have the technology. But what they really need, and I know this might sound a bit U.S. Pro-U.S., is they need some USA in their mix there. You know, they were getting in bed with Mr. Putin over there in Russia, buying a bunch of oil there. And I know part of this deal that Trump administration, or Trump, because he likes to take credit for everything, struck with India basically says that they're going to get tariffs at around 18%, which is way lower than where it's been, and zero tariffs on India buying our goods, or I think I'm saying that right. So, or us buying India goods, one of the two. Sorry, I'm getting them confused. But part of the deal, so we're saying, is that they are not going to continue to buy oil from Russia. Now, I read some of the article, and it doesn't seem like India is saying that. Like they're insinuating that we're not going to buy oil, but are they really going to stop buying oil from Russia and just buy it from good old USA? I guess that's one of the questions, but let's just kind of go into this. There's some devils in the details here, but this is a massive trade deal, massive. And if they can, and I'm just going to give you my opinion, if they can really cultivate this relationship over the next 3 years and build India to be on our side, build India to kind of really be working with the U.S. when it comes to trade and development, I truly will say this. I think we can definitely phase out China. India's got far more capacity in the future, not today, but in the future than China does. I don't know what your guys' take is on this, and I'll turn it over to James or Stephen. What are you guys thinking of this India deal?
Go ahead, James.
Well, it's interesting what's going on in India. And for those who don't know, India has one of the largest populations in the world at over 1 billion people. And they have, a huge tech sector over there in Bangalore, and the whole sub-Asian continent, part of the continent there. It's growing exponentially, and it's increasing the amount of influence that it has over the world. Now, they obviously need oil. And I feel that this is actually one of the times that Trump's tariffs actually worked out in our favor. We are going
Holy shit. Whoa.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. Can you just say that again?
Sure. No, I will definitely say that. I feel that this is one of the times that Trump's tariffs have worked in our favor. Because if we are going to have any leverage over a country like Russia or something like that, which is an economic threat,
thank you,
then this actually worked in our favor there. The question is, how long-standing is this going to be, and what are going to be the ramifications of this moving forward? Now, Chris, you said that they needed some America in their life, and this could be a manufacturing powerhouse. And yes, we have a lot of products that are built in India: shirts, toys, stuff for everybody. I feel that what we're going to see, though, is going to be more expansion away from China in terms of manufacturing, and we're going to be seeing it both in the South Asian continent and expanding also into Africa as well, where we're seeing that a lot of these countries are looking to grow. We know that there's a lot of money stashed away in India. We know that there's a lot of human resource capital as well, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few years.
It really is, but I couldn't disagree with anything you said. I was just really happy that you actually said that the tariffs are actually working out. And you know what? I think
in that particular case,
well, let me just say, it's all the naysayers about tariffs. I think what you're going to start to see as we unfold into 2026 is the tariffs are actually probably going to be a good thing. And, we're going to see a lot more as we get into this next part with Kevin Warsh and what he's talking about with inflation and how, literally, like, to all the naysayers and all the people out there that were saying, these tariffs are going to drive, and even the Fed was saying this, the tariffs are going to drive inflation. We have literally not seen much inflation due to the tariffs. And it makes sense because in history, and I was kind of testing myself a little because I went out public, made videos saying, tariffs aren't going to increase inflation, because I studied the past and it never did in those scenarios when we use tariffs. But I was like, all right, well, maybe this time could be different. We tend to say that a lot, right? Maybe this time will be different. And I think there's a lot of people, investors, younger investors that are saying this time is going to be different. There's not going to be a recession. There's not going to be a crash in the stock market because this time's different. Don't place the bets on that one. I will say, I think you'll get that wrong, but nonetheless, I'll finish this topic up with the India-US thing. It is probably, in my opinion, since Trump came in, one of the most positive developments that has happened thus far. And I think it has the biggest positive consequences for the United States of America and also India into the future if it's cultivated properly. That's what I'm going to say. Anything you want to talk about before we move on to good old gold?
I'll just say I love some tandoori chicken and naan bread. So
Yeah, give me some of that naan. Yeah, love that.
And everybody in WTF, please just do your own research when it comes to how tariffs have affected the U.S. household. You're going to find a variety of different topics and different positions that are saying that. Some people are saying it's completely been ineffective. Other people are saying it's affected us to about $120 per month per U.S. household. So take all that stuff into consideration and do your research.
Yeah, Cash just slid over a piece of paper on his take on the India thing, and he said he doesn't ever want to go to India because he hears that in India they eat cats. I don't know, Cash. We'll just keep you here in the United States of America.
Just remember, India is one of the few countries that cows are allowed to walk around.
So what's going on with gold, guys?
All right, gold. Stephen, what's happening with gold? All right, so gold has recently tumbled, from its all-time highs, but it was on a tear. But the thing that you have to look at is, with Trump announcing Kevin Warsh, and if you really look at his take on everything, like to shrink the Fed, but also he's talking about a lot of things that will keep the dollar propped up. And that would be strong for treasuries. That would be strong for the U.S., just how the other countries and the other nations of the world look at the U.S. from a strength standpoint. Stephen, this is kind of your strength, right? You talk a lot about precious metals. So give us your opinion. I mean, silver plunged 30%. Well, we've been talking about silver is going crazy, but it just plunged 30% in its worst day since 1980. What the hell's going on, man? It really that much just because of Warsh?
Yeah. I mean, so gold, silver plunged. I mean, silver's back up, I don't know, 10% this morning right now. So it's continuing to follow this very unhistorical, volatile path right now. I mean, if we look at, if we look at silver, I mean, over the last year, it's up 176% from $30 an ounce to currently today at $91 an ounce. I mean, that's a historical run up for a precious metal like silver.
Agreed.
I mean, there's a lot of factors behind that between the differences. And you look at the different silver prices in different countries right now. So you look at like Japan, you look over in Asia, you look at some of these different countries, and there's a huge price discrepancies, which never happens. And, a lot of it has to do with paper trading versus the actual physical metals. And so I think that there's a lot of price adjustments going on by the big financial institutions right now, and a lot of discovery trying to figure out where the actual physical metals are and how much there is, because there's a lot more paper sold than actual physical metal exists. And so that's sometimes what drives some of these various marks, and the banks and financial institutions trying to hedge. And so I think right now what we're seeing is just they're trying to figure out where the price is, like what is the right price. It's been, a lot of people say it's been artificially manipulated over the last decade or two, and purposely kept down for many, many different reasons on these big financial institutions. And so I think it's just trying to figure out where it's going to land. But if we look at gold, I mean, gold seems to be keeping that $5,000 an ounce floor. It broke over 5,000 for the first time in history, and it's bounced off there a couple times now over the last couple of weeks. So I mean, that's a huge run up too from 3,500 an ounce last year. So yes, it's had a downturn the last couple days, but that's after an incredibly historic run over the last couple of months.
Yeah, well said.
Absolutely. I feel that what people need to hear is some good news about the US dollar in order for gold to really either come down or silver to come down and some level of baseline to be established. Obviously, there's been a lot of economic turmoil and tumultuousness going on in the headlines recently, which is why a lot of people have been flocking to gold and silver and other precious metals. But overall, remember, gold is supposed to be that benchmark, and the US dollar can go above and below it. And we're seeing that a lot of people are like, I'm kind of scared of that right now. Maybe with more trade deals, maybe with future economic, high levels of output, maybe we're going to be able to see that. Or maybe the conspiracy theorists are correct as well. And there are government entities that want to crash the US dollar so that we could export more goods. What do you think, Chris?
Listen, I always say that, having a small portion of your investable assets and precious metals is just a good thing from a defensive standpoint. The problem I've always had with gold, silver, any precious metals is that they're just non-income producing. I mean, they're a great store of wealth, in times of war, in times of recession, in times of fear. I mean, you see things like this happen where precious metals will spike, and it makes perfect sense. It's sentiment driven, but when it comes down to, is it going to change your lifestyle holding gold and silver? Like, well, I suppose if it came down to what some people say where, the dollar collapsed and you just had gold coins to trade, sure. But I don't live in that doomsday kind of mentality. So for me, I think, everybody that's been in silver and gold has had a really nice run up. But my question is always like, okay, what is the long-term benefit you're going to get from holding the gold? In other words, like if you got gold and gold's sitting at 5,000 and you bought it at, let's just say 2,000 an ounce, right? Stephen, you probably bought some gold at what, 2,000? Did you buy any under 2,000 an ounce?
When was it under 2,000?
I'm trying to remember. That's what I was just thinking. I'd have to look it up. But nonetheless, like that would be a nice run up. I mean, even if you owned it at 3,000 and it ran to 5, that's a heck of a run up. It's just like, Warren Buffett always says, no one to hold them and no one to fold them, right? Buy low, sell high, and don't lose money. So it just really comes down to what is the end goal? What is the end goal? I almost said gold. What is the end goal for your precious metal positions? Because it doesn't produce income. Sure, you can leverage it, you can margin it, you can do different things to get some liquidity out of it, but it's not like other income producing assets that would help you live a better life, that would pay your bills, pay your mortgage, pay, your rising food costs. But gold and silver and precious metals, they just don't do that. So I don't know. I think that's the question to ask.
Yeah. Right. And we can't bring up precious metals without digital precious metals and Bitcoin. And it's been continuing its crazy run as well. I mean,
yeah.
We look at Bitcoin over the last 6 months. I mean, we're down from highs of 125. We're sitting at 75 today.
That's incredible. Yeah, this is the first time it's been this low in quite some time.
I know a lot of people buying a lot of Bitcoin right now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's not a bad buy. I mean, but you just don't know where it's going to go. I think Bitcoin, I don't own any. I'll be first and foremost. And I can't wrap my head around owning it just because there's no intrinsic value. I'm just an old school fundamental guy. I'm not investing in anything in the markets except for treasury bonds. So I'm about as boring as it gets, but I think for people that are speculators, people that understand Bitcoin and know how to use it, I think it's definitely got to play. There's a big play, and being able to buy it at these levels, maybe it's buying low, maybe it's buying high. I mean, who knows, right? But definitely a lot of changes going on, like the Warren Buffetts, the people like me that really, really put a lot of emphasis on fundamentals. A lot of people say that like we're dinosaurs, like those days are gone. Like fundamental investing is out the window. But until I have reason to believe that it is truly gone, that's just my path. And right now, I think one of the unique things is, and I've said this for far too long, I sound like a broken record, is you get paid really well right now to sit on the sidelines. You're hedging, inflation is down, so you can beat inflation. You're making a couple points above that, and you're taking no risk, in short-term T-bills, treasuries. I use PMC Wealth over here. These guys, they're really good at managing these bond portfolios for me, and you can squeak out a really good yield for sitting on the sidelines. And to me, I sleep better at night like that. I just do. I'm not going to make as much as people buying Bitcoin or gold and silver, investing in the markets. But, when everything goes haywire and starts going down and they start sweating it out, I'm just sitting there like, maybe I should buy some things. I don't know. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we have to remember a few key points in that retail investors, getting to your point about being an old school versus new school investor. Old school investors traditionally absolutely control the market, and obviously they still have a tremendous level of influence to this day. But I was just looking this up, and right now, as of 2025, 2026, retail investors account for roughly 20 to 25% of equity trading on an average day, and up to 30 to 40% on peak days, which is why you'll be seeing run-ups of GameStop and things like Dogecoin, because hype will completely overtake common and traditional logic in certain plays. So some of the trading rules are being rewritten or evolving, as it were. And we know that there's more access to trading with, apps such as Webull and Robinhood, and even the traditional brokerage accounts like Charles Schwab now being into the market. So the question is, how well are people going to be able to gauge consumer sentiment? How much hype are they measuring right now? And right now, I mean, also, people are just betting on just the most crazy thing. They're thinking of they're investing on like the Super Bowl and some of these things, and now they're sophisticated investors. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
I mean, the bond market, the U.S. 30-year Treasury hitting almost 5% right now is
no,
wild.
I know it's
bonds
very,
are up.
very interesting time for the bond market.
Bonds are up, stocks are up, precious metals are up. Like it's pretty interesting for
There's
sure.
a lot of things not really making sense. I love what Michael said. Gold, what somebody just moved it around. I was trying to get back to what he was originally saying here. Does the trend line augment the time, from time to time? Yes, but overall it acts like real estate. So he's just doing that. And Shauna was just asking about, does it mean it was sold massively? It hits trend lines like what Michael was saying, and in the hedge funds and the different people that are in leveraged positions, they got to dump their positions. You hear about Burry and things like that, where, they use leverage in a lot of their investing. So I think a lot of the plunge really comes down to that. But let's move on. There's another interesting thing going on, and this is kind of world news. So I'm kind of going to jump into world news, but France, France is a weird place. I don't really look at France or study France. I think Europe is pretty well freaking doomed right now because they've made some bad, choices over the last couple decades. But nonetheless, they just raided X's offices. Did you guys hear about that in Paris?
Oh yeah.
So I guess Grok, if you will, the Musk's AI, was going out there saying some pretty interesting stuff. And I'm reading this book, Empire of AI, and they talk about open AI and like when you went back to ChatGPT 2 and some of Microsoft's original AI things, where they literally did is sometimes AI just goes off on a tangent and becomes very, very politically adverse. They start saying like some really bad stuff. They start bringing in porn and all sorts of bad things happen. But I guess that's what they're saying over there in France. And that's what did this big investigation is XAI's chat box was spreading deep fakes, Holocaust denial content, child abuse images, potential. It all violated France has a very strict speech, like hate speech safety laws. So they're really strict about that. And I don't know, Stephen, you love Elon, and I like Elon as well. But is AI kind of just going rogue? Because we've seen this, and they got to get a handle on it. But did it go rogue here? Because that was definitely pissed the French off pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the specific situations. St. James might, but the EU, France, I mean, all those countries over there right now are having their own internal battles within their own countries on what is free speech. They don't have it. What does immigration look like? They're getting run over right now.
They lost their way, man. They just lost their way.
To me, none of it's good over there. So, if I was Elon Musk, I'd say F off everyone and just bail. I mean, I don't know, but it's nonsense if you ask me from an American's perspective.
James, I don't know if you want to say anything before we move on.
Let's look at this in another perspective here. What we see is basically almost a rogue AI. We don't know if somebody actually prompted the AI to do these things, but it's doing some pretty heinous things. Let's go over this one more time. Holocaust denial, child abuse images. It was taking basic pornographic and creating pornographic images of women, like real women, and basically putting them in pornographic situations. So the question isn't necessarily free speech. It isn't the question of, economics. It's more about responsibility, and what responsibilities do these corporations have over their AIs? And unfortunately, Grok has been consistently rated as one of the most hallucination positive out of all of the major AI. So meaning there needs to be some more guardrails put in, because at a certain point, are you knowingly putting out there bad information? Because we know that a lot of people use these large language models in order to actually do research, and they may not have the technological savvy to say, hey, look, I know I need to check my sources and go down the rabbit hole of actually checking my work. So is XAI, and then by extension Grok, responsible for what they're doing? Because if I will, let's just say, were to go out and send pictures of animal cruelty and sending it out to everybody, is that a crime? I mean, obviously I'm not doing it, but do I have a level of responsibility to the general populace, regardless if it's in the United States or if it's in Europe or even in China? And I feel that currently, yes, they do. there is an onus for these corporations to do that because they are consuming so much of our natural resources and energies and have such a tremendous amount of political influence and cultural influence in our society. And let's face it, they're going to be making money off of this as well. So I would like to see some responsibility taken. And actually, if I were Elon, I'd use this as an opportunity to kind of spin things around and say, hey, you know what? We're going to do this. We still believe in free speech. And here's the moves that we're going to be using for it so that everybody knows Grok is the #1 large language model platform out there, because it's going to be in the press either way. Might as well spin it to be something positive.
Well, let's spin it right over into a whole new world that Elon's talking about. But let's bring this to what the F US.
My fellow Americans.
So you know the thing. I think this next one is a pretty fascinating and just wild turn of events that's going on. And this is really about Elon, kind of to everything you both said, Elon, just say F you to France. And I agree. Like Europe softies, they've made so many stinking mistakes. Oh, let's not produce our own energy. Let's just buy it from other nations and become a slave to them. And I don't mean that, but basically you could, like their leadership has taken them down a path that I don't know how they're ever going to climb out of it. I really don't. I don't know how Europe will ever climb out of the mess they're in, at least in our lifetimes. So with that being said, let's move over to Elon and how he's taking, his Grok and AI into space. And I think this is fantastic. We all know he's got SpaceX, which, he's doing it better than NASA could, but he's working with NASA and doing this. And they're right now talking about a $1.25 trillion merger. And this is not some small little game here. This is massive. I mean, you all remember during COVID, they printed 5.2 trillion. Stephen's shown it 100 times probably how much $1 trillion is. It's an unfathomable, that amount of money.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It didn't quite come out the way my mind thought it was going to, but it's just a crazy amount of money. So we're talking about $1.25 trillion merger here, and it's setting up so it could be the biggest tech IPO. But here's the unique thing: is it tech or is it aerospace? It's kind of both. And I think this is brilliant because tech has a much higher valuation when it comes to market valuation than aerospace's traditional multiple valuations. And when they're doing this, they're looking at bundling rockets, Starlink, and X platforms, and Grok, the AI chat box that we just talked about, is denying the Holocaust and things of that nature and whatever it's doing. But and James, just real quick on that, like if you study all the AIs, they've all had that exact same issue. They've had discriminatory issues. They've had all sorts of issues, but they've worked through them and they've contained them quite well. So what we're talking about with where Grok was doing this in France, like it's news today. In a week, 2 weeks, a month, we'll never hear about it again because they'll fix the issue. But the thing I like about this integrated space plus AI merger giant idea is, there's so much talk right now about these giant data centers, and how big these things are and how bad they are for the environment and how much water they need for cooling. And like I said in the beginning of the show, like space is a pretty cold place from my understanding. I know in an airplane, when you're up at 30, 40,000 feet, like and the pilot comes on and says it's, X degrees, negative degrees out. You're like, wow, that's pretty freaking cold. And then you go up into space, I believe it's even colder. So we don't have a cooling problem anymore. Plus, we don't really have a space problem anymore. Well, no pun intended on the space thing, but like, like you got a lot of room up there. We're sending another ship up to the moon. If you actually believe we went to the moon before, that's another conspiracy theory. But when you look at this idea, it's actually pretty fascinating and actually makes a lot of freaking sense. Let's put all of these data centers, these AI supercomputing processing centers, let's just put them up in space. I mean, crazy idea 10 years ago. Today, it's just like, fuck it, roll it.
I mean, they've been launching all those satellites up there. I mean, I watch them all the time flying through the sky on the way up from my house. And so it does make sense if they can make it happen. There is a big misconception about these AI data centers and water usage, though. It's kind of old technology at this point. The new data centers are all using the closed loop coolant system. So they're not consuming nearly as much water as all the news and doomsday stuff wants you to believe. So that's becoming kind of a non-issue. Electrical obviously is big, but I think it's really cool the more stuff we do in space. I mean, like I said, I'm fascinated by them sending astronauts back around the moon and eventually land back on the moon here soon, which is cool.
But I think this time they actually will put astronauts on the moon.
Yeah, I think that's the goal here. So it's pretty cool to see, though.
Yeah,
James, you think they actually went to the moon?
Absolutely. What I like about this is it's pushing the scientific agenda forward, and we know that science won't go forward with that unless there's some type of monetary gain. Elon basically is the only horse in town. SpaceX is the only, basically the only person, like Nagy said, that's sending stuff into space. They have the reusable rockets, and Blue Origin, despite their, massive size, isn't really transporting goods and consumer goods up into space. And the question is why would people want to spend this much money just to shoot stuff into a rocket into space? And if it is data centers where there is an abundance of energy, Tesla is uniquely, and I say Tesla, I really should say Elon. Elon is uniquely situated to be able to control the energy. He has massive solar panels. Remember, he absorbed Solar City not too long ago into Tesla. And we know that he has SpaceX and he has Starlink and he actually has the data. So he literally has the means to develop Skynet. The question is how responsible do we think that this Uber corporation can actually become, and how much influence do we want to have with it within our lives? Is it far off to really think about? Maybe within the next 10 years, no, but within 50 years, within this realm of some of our lifetimes, is this possible where there is this super corporation that controls our data, has an AI, is basically based off world, and will be involved with every aspect of our day? Is it possible? Absolutely. And the question is, one, who is going to be able to be positioned to be competition in this particular capitalist society? And is this going to be actually outside of any type of government's jurisdiction? If there's an entire data center that is creating, let's just say, lies or maliciousness or what have you, is it beyond the realm of any terrestrial governments? And that's something that we would be considering. I don't think that, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I think that there's a lot of upside to this as well. So I kind of want to walk that back just a bit. But I just want to propose those particular things into our ethos here, guys, just to kind of consider. But it would be a massive achievement for the U.S., for the humans in general.
I love this. And, he's bringing it back to silver. You need a lot of silver to do it. So, giving some stability to that silver run that's going on here. And yeah, you're probably right. And Lynn, thank you for clarity on that. I was kind of just posing that question. Your mom got to work on that project of going to the moon. Obviously, clearly, we all want to believe that, but there's been a couple comments about like the flat, is the earth flat, the flat earthers or whatever you want to call them, and the people that say, did we really go to the moon and all the stuff? I think just sometimes people just have a lot of free time and nothing to spend that time on other than being like, I wonder if the earth is flat. And my wife sometimes brings that up to me. I'm like, are you serious right now? You really think the earth is flat? She's like, well, there's some things that make a point about that. I'm like, oh my God, don't even talk to me about this.
They've tested this so many times. At the end of the day, people are going to want to believe.
We're talking about, we got more important things to talk about. Like Kevin, my boy.
Oh yeah. He's your boy?
No, I have no idea who he is, but sounded good, right? Kevin, remember Home Alone, Kevin? Anyway, but Kevin.
Yes.
What a shame that she passed away.
Absolutely.
What an unbelievable actress. Just what a legacy.
She passed away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She passed away about last week, I want to say.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's super. And she wasn't that old, and she was healthy. She got sick with something, and it just took her down, man. I still don't know all the details about it, but yeah. But anyway, not talking about that, Kevin. We're talking about Kevin Warsh. And let me just read this to you because I just got this news, and we knew Trump clearly was looking to replace Jerome Powell. Jerome's term's coming up. We knew that he wasn't going to make it in. Blah blah blah. Trump wants lower interest rates. Powell's fighting that. Anyway, nonetheless, we've got a new, we got a new chair coming in for the Fed, and Kevin Warsh, former Fed governor and longtime critic of easy money, which should be music to your ears. Easy money is, when the Fed just starts printing, and which is inflationary and what devalues your dollar. So that's bad. And he's been nominated by Trump to replace Jerome Powell as the chair of the Federal Reserve starting in May, which is right around the corner, folks. And his record shows a shift from being a class. I'm just going to read this right off here. A classic inflation hawk to cautiously backing lowering rates, because clearly Trump wouldn't have nominated him if he wasn't going to lower rates. If, and there's a big if, productivity, which I think is key and something that, Ray Dalio talks about all the time, productivity and AI keep inflation in check. He, some interesting things. He pushed for higher rates and a smaller Fed balance sheet during and after the 2008 crisis, opposing multiple rounds of quantitative easing and ultimately resigning in 2011 because he thought the Fed was printing too much money. You don't freaking say. Since 2008, they haven't shut the damn printing press off, which is why so many of us can't seem to make sense of why things are so expensive now compared to pre-COVID. Well, don't sit there and blame it on Trump. All these people are like, oh, Trump is the reason things are so expensive. That is the most uneducated comment that anyone pretty much can make, because when you print money, you devalue current circulation of dollars. And that's what he's kind of going for, is he said the Fed was printing too much money, distorting the markets. And more recently has argued that the Fed, if they run the printing press quieter, which that's always code word if you ask me, and shrinks its balance sheet, it can safely deliver lower policy rates over time. And he said that today's growth, helped by AI-driven productivity, doesn't have to trigger new inflation spikes. Sorry, I read that verbatim just from the article, but Stephen, what's your take on this Fed chair choice by Trump?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read about it so far, and given I don't have a lot of background on this, but it seems like a positive thing. It seems like the guy has a cool head on his shoulders, maybe not super.
I like that he resigned when they were printing too much money. I thought that was a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it sounds like he's very conservative. It surprised me, honestly, because Trump obviously pushes very hard for everything this guy seems to stand against. And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I know he's pro Bitcoin too, from what I've heard, which is interesting too for a Federal Reserve chair. So yeah, we'll see. When does he take office, or when does he become?
This would be in May.
Yeah.
Well, it's right around the corner. So, I mean, literally that will have, you're already going to see it in the markets. You're going to see the markets reacting to it, which is, it's actually been really positive, but that's what you're seeing with, gold and silver and precious metals. And you're seeing them drop because obviously the thought of this, or the speculation of, what his policy will be, is very pro the dollar in treasuries. So, you're not seeing that in treasury yields right now because yields are spiked, which basically brings price down. But I think you'll see that settle down a little bit. There's just, still some unknowns. But James, what's your take on, his 3 tasks to shrink the Fed, tame inflation, and manage the president?
I feel that he's going to do a good job. I mean, we've seen that he's been very level-headed when it comes to rates. We see that he doesn't want to push things too much in the past. And I mean, obviously he's going to face a lot of pressure from the president to lower rates a little bit more. And maybe he'll be able to put something in Trump's ear. Hey, look, if you lower rates, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. This is going to be the domino effect. And a lot of people tend to overlook that particular thing when it comes to hearing the lowering of rates, because a lot of people hear lower rates, great. That just means that now I'm going to be able to buy a house. So it'll spur the real estate market. But also there's other things that happen when you lower rates. Your savings rates go down. If you have a high yield savings account, that's going to go down. Yes, it also means that your credit card rates could potentially go down as well, but everything moves within accordance to one another, with real estate being that lagging indicator. And currently we are seeing the effects of the lowering of rates from last year into this current economy, where people are walking away from deals because interest rates have gone down. The banks are starting to reflect that. And people are saying, well, heck, it's starting to move into a buyer's market right now. So Jerome did his job. He did lower rates in a very responsible fashion. Is it as fast as a lot of people wanted? No, but if you move these central rates too quickly, it creates a lot of market uncertainty. And then you see ramifications of that. It becomes the butterfly effect, where if a butterfly flaps its wings in China, it creates a tsunami in California. So we have to keep those things
You've been
in
doing your
mind.
homework, James. That's
Oh,
spot
yeah.
on.
Yeah. So we really thank you, Chris. So that's why we have to keep these things in mind and always look at things as critically as possible, not just a blue sky scenario and what helps us out the most. Yeah, I think it'll be great. And just one more small thing, though, Chris. I mean, I know that you did mention that, Trump gets all this blame for higher prices, but then in accordance, you will also hear a lot of people say the same thing, that Biden is responsible for all these high prices, when really it all just came back to that printing of money and inflation. But that also created a lot of ways for like the minimum wage to also go up in proportion. So we have to look at things in a big picture and then narrow it down to a smaller level.
Yeah. And I just, I want to unpack a couple more things when it comes to the US. And we just did a video the other day, and I thought it was fascinating. So when we do these YouTube videos, it forces us to do deep dives of research, because, a YouTube video is 15 to 20 minutes. You can't just wing 15 to 20 minutes. You got to go in and do some good research. We use AI for some of it. We use some white papers for some of it. But this whole video premise is, the surge that's going to happen. It's about a $4.7 trillion surge of money that's about to hit the pockets of, U.S. Individuals, consumers,
right.
businesses and corporations, as well as industrials. And
Yep.
Here's the cool part is this whole article really kind of brought to the forefront for me something I never really thought of, is this surge of money, this $4.7 trillion, which is the estimate. Okay. You're not going to see this in the news, but the estimate, it is not new money. It is not printed money, which is the best kind of money. It is current money in circulation. So to unpack that a little bit, because I give you no context there. There's three major things that happened. And I remember a year ago, a lot of hate, went to the administration when they passed the big, beautiful tax bill. Okay. So you all remember that. And there's still a lot of people that say it was the worst tax bill, blah, blah, blah. It's going to increase inflation. Hasn't yet. I mean, maybe we'll see. But there was a lot of negativity around it. But here's what's about to happen. Americans are about to get the largest tax returns. I'm not going to say that this is ever in history, but like in a very, very long time, they're about to get the largest tax refunds. And I don't know. And I think I think it's our lifetime, isn't it, James?
It's safe to say within the past 20 to 30 years, easily.
20 to 30 years. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the number is like $8,400 is set to be the average. So that alone, those tax refunds that are going to be coming in amount to over $2 trillion. If you add up, all the refunds that are expected to come back and, the number of people that are going to get these, that's massive. Because if you think about a tax refund, and here's the thing, a lot of people are going to make a lot of stupid mistakes, because people, when they get tax refunds, we have studied this and we've talked about this. They always do one of a couple different things. They go out and they blow it, because a lot of people, when they get a tax refund, especially, no disrespect to this, but the lower income households, okay, like, the lower end, they get this money and they think it's like newfound money. But let me preface something. This isn't newfound money. This is money you paid out of your paycheck in taxes. This is your money. Okay. This isn't some gift. This isn't some, like, you didn't win the lottery. You gave your money to the IRS, and you gave them too much because of the big, beautiful tax bill and a lot of the advantages and the pros of what people are about to witness when they get these refunds. So please be prudent and, be a good steward of your money when you get this. And one of the things I'm hopeful, and one of the things we're really pushing hard to get people to be aware of, is when you get that refund, let's look at what is affecting your family. And I will tell you what it is. It's debt. 100% debt. We have more debt now than we ever have in history as individuals. We need to knock that down. So if you've got these refunds coming, get with us, get into the Vault software, use the Debt Blaster. You can use it for free. Just go to byobvault.com and punch in your debts. and reorganize your debts, restructure how you're going to be paying them off with this tax refund, maybe run it through a policy, maybe not. That's up to you. And use this productively, because at a certain point, we got to stop bitching about not having enough money, prices going up, inflation. We got to start taking some freaking responsibility for our own actions. And you know what? That's what we're going to see. These refunds are going to start coming out, April, May, which, I know isn't now, but it's coming very soon. And we're going to see how foolish people are with money, and then when they spend all of their money, they're going to be bitching again. Oh, prices are too high. Oh, the world's not fair. The system's rigged against me. You just got the largest tax refund probably in your life, and you just blew it. You went out there and bought yourself a new cell phone, and you went out there and did all these things. You blew your money, and that is on you. Stop the bitching and moaning. Start taking responsibility. All the tools are there. We have the tools. We'll help you do it. Make productive use of that. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole on that one, but you know what? It's the truth.
It needs to be said, though. It definitely needs to be said. I mean, tax season.
Seriously, more people need to hear that.
Right. A lot of corporations, they anticipate tax return season. If you're in the auto industry, you are salivating at the mouth right now because people are going to be able to put down massive down payments on aging, basically types of inventory. And you better be, on the floor, no matter what, calling every single cold and warm lead that you've ever had. That's literally what they teach you, because they know people basically take that money and it barely even has a chance to sit in their bank account for 1 month before it's already gone in some of the less sophisticated circles. So
it's what you're saying real quick, James, to those people. I don't mean to cut you off, but imagine if they just took that money, they put it in their bank account, they restructured their debts using Debt Blaster, the Vault software, and then they took the $8,400, whatever dollar amount it is, and they used it to pay the debts off. And then they did what we teach every day, and they took the payment they were making to Visa, Amex, MasterCard, GM Financial, and they rolled that back into their bank account. We could show them, but they would regenerate all the money they had in their bank account from the tax refund in a very short period of time, and they didn't have to work harder, longer, or take on any risk. That is smart financial advice.
Absolutely.
And actually, I can't call that financial advice.
It comes down to
whatever that is.
It comes down to a really fancy, $100 word or phrase. It's delayed gratification. If you take that time to invest right now, invest in yourself, invest in terms of paying down your debts or outstanding bills. Well, think about how much easier you're able to sleep, know that all your bills are paid. Right? A lot of people, they want to take a vacation. They just want to escape. Oh, I took a vacation with my tax return. I spent $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Well, guess what? Knock, knock. As soon as you get back, your previous obligations are still at the door. So was that 1 week in Cabo or that 1 week in Myrtle Beach, was it actually worth it in terms of the actual longevity of your finances for yourself and your family? Now, thankfully, the people here at BYOB, that's one of the things that we focus on is how not only can you satisfy yourself today, but your family and your future family for generations to come long term. But it means that you're gonna have to make good decisions absolutely right now. But Chris, I definitely agree with you on that. I'm sure Nagy's on board. You're probably talking about that all weekend, weren't you, Nagy? Okay, my man. Thanks, Steve.
Jim Collins had an interesting comment that I want to hit. He said, has the budget declined, the U.S. deficit, has it declined by the same $2 trillion? No. But let's round it up to the 4.7 because we didn't hit the other two buckets. No, it didn't. And then he says, then the $2 trillion they're giving back is fake. Isn't all money fake? It's all fiat, isn't it? So I understand what you're saying, Jim, but do you want the government to take the fake dollars and go waste it on things? Or do you want the $2 trillion, of fake money to be given back to the citizens and then hope that they can do something productive with it? I mean, that's going to be, that's the question to ask. All money right now is fiat. It just all is. So it's all hypothetically fake. Let me just move through these here real quick.
Hold on, Chris. I just want to say this really quickly here. Chris brought this up. Use tax funds to set up an IBC policy and use that money to pay off debts. This is one of our prime seasons for the entire year, where we have a lot of people who come in and they use their tax returns to do just that. They will take their tax return and put that and set up an IBC policy for themselves and then pay themselves debt off. So thank you so much for bringing that up there, Chris.
All right. Well, the second, I'm going to go quicker with these next two.
Yep.
The second one is, corporations. And if you've been following the earnings report, they're pretty flush with money right now, many of them. And what you've been hearing and what's been happening, what's going to probably happen, and this is a little less, if I'm not mistaken, than 2 trillion, but with stock buybacks and dividends that they're going to pay out and things of that nature, which are all going to end up back into the economy. Now, the stock buybacks, I've never been a huge fan of it, but this is just what companies do. They buy their stock back. It reduces the number of outstanding shares out there, which artificially, or however you want to say it, it just increases the asset price. So it makes the point that right now it's going to, especially what this whole thing is it's going to make sense to have assets, assets like real estate. We talked about gold and silver. We talked about stocks and bonds and things of that nature. Like, all of them are going to rise with this. So the stock buybacks will keep stock prices propped up. But here's the thing you need to be very cautious with. I'm not saying run out and get stocks, please. I'm not giving any investment advice like that. Consult with your advisor, work with the wealth advisors here at Private Money Club's wealth advisors and get with them to get some advice. But the thing I'm trying to say is stock prices could go up because of these stock buybacks, but just that could be happening when everything else is falling apart. So it's almost like a very, it's like smoke and mirrors. So you got to be really careful with that. And then the last bucket, which I think is one that I love. And, again, like to what Jim said, like some are saying, oh, it's going to increase the deficit. Every president increases the deficit. You could argue that Bill Clinton maybe paid it down, but, how many times did Clinton go to the Epstein Island? But not going there. Not going there today.
You couldn't resist.
I had to. I'm sorry. I had to. I just had to say it. But anyway, back to this other bucket would be industrials. And this is the bonus depreciation going back to 100%. I think, the fact that they got this reinstated back to 100% is a really positive thing. Because if you think of businesses in the United States of America, incentivizing businesses to invest in infrastructure, to invest in equipment, to invest in all these things that they can now get a 100% bonus depreciation on, that's like literally just getting a giant refund of money that you would normally lose in taxes, but you get it all up front. Okay. And that's really what this bonus depreciation is. If you don't really understand it, consult with your CPA to find out whether it would work for you. But business owners, industrials, corporations, they all understand this. And this is a massive, massive perk for businesses to go and reinvest. And that's another part of that $4.7 trillion. And just to preface, again, remember, consumers, corporations, industrials, and businesses, I hit on all three buckets. We're talking about $4.7 trillion of not new printed money already in the circulation, already out there. It's just going to basically be put back in those three different buckets. And all three of those are going to use that money to go out there and buy things, spend things, like, whatever they're going to do, which is going to keep the economy going. Or at least that's the thought. Any thoughts on that? I went long on it, but what are your thoughts?
I'm never a fan of deficit. And yeah, like you said, sir, every president pretty much has increased the deficit for one reason or another. A lot of us aren't going to understand the ramifications of this big amount of debt, but when the whole world is in debt to one another, it's kind of basically, well, the kettle calling the pot black. I mean, you're in debt, and we're all in debt. Let's all hold hands. Having people coming together and understanding that, look, there's going to be a lot of old money cycling through the system with this silver tsunami, for instance. It's going to be very, very important, because this is going to be the opportunity for a lot of individual investors, new investors, millennials, Gen X, even the tail end of Gen X, and even Generation Z, to be able to get a foothold into tomorrow's economy. Maybe it's going to be buying a business. Maybe it's going to be buying rental properties. The key thing is that we also know that a lot of corporations are going to be buying into this economy as well. They are poised. BlackRock, Blackstone, all the Vanguard funds, they're all ready to do these things as well, which is why you see them buying up a lot of these old mom and pop businesses. The question then becomes, how can you get your piece? How can everyday Americans get their piece? If you're getting a tax refund, how can I get my piece? Can I go into an investment with somebody that I know? Can I learn up about something that I know, like, and understand so that I am poised to take advantage of this, not just for right now, but moving forward as well? Because while money is fleeting, information and knowledge can be forever.
All right. Steven, anything on that?
Yeah, we're good. We can roll.
All right. Well, let's kick this thing into the most important part of this whole thing, and that is just what the F. What the minivans?
Chris, I need one.
Minivans. Who thought? Like, when I read this, I'm like, no way, no freaking way. But like, it's undeniable. So the U.S. vehicle segment quietly, so minivans. I want to preface this. We're talking just about minivans. Surged in 2025 by 21%. That's more than any other like car market. Like minivans led the, like, what is going on? I don't think people are popping out more kids. So I don't see that happening. Like, what is it that's making minivans have this comeback? I haven't even looked at minivans.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of factors with that, Chris. We have to remember right now, SUVs pretty much dominate the market. I mean, America loves their big SUVs, but they've become super, super, super overpriced. I mean, if you look at the average price of a vehicle in the United States right now is well over $50,000. And SUVs guzzle a lot of gas. And a lot of people still don't get the actual functionality out of it. Whereas a minivan will be generally cheaper to insure. They still come in all-wheel drive. People still have decent-sized families as well. I mean, granted, our birth rates are down, but also a big factor that's playing into this is the gig economy, because people are doing Amazon deliveries, Walmart deliveries, Instacart, and they need this huge amount of space in order to be able to get as many items around as much as possible and covered as well. So, which is why a pickup truck just isn't necessarily as a sound choice. So now we go back and we think about the minivans of the 90s. If you're Gen X and an older millennial, you may remember the advent of the Dodge Caravan just absolutely dominating the market when we were just putting on our inline skates. But it fell out of favor for the big SUVs, the Escalade crowd and the G-Wagon crowd. But now the mom wagons of before, the minivans, are now being marketed to men. And instead of them being known as minivans, they're now being known as maxi vans. And they're showing them being lifted up in off-road tires. Because for as much machismo as we like to have, a lot of us don't ever take our SUVs off on the trails. A lot of us are just, retail warriors, and we need to have the levels of practicality of a lot of these minivans out there. So I'm very surprised. Like, to this day, Chrysler still has, if my numbers are correct, has the #1 selling minivan on the market despite its reliability issues. And I just found that absolutely amazing.
So when I think of like a Sprinter van, and I got a bunch of friends that have jacked up Sprinter vans. Those are pretty sweet, but I guess really that is kind of a minivan in a roundabout way. And I know Dodge in Mopar was talking about putting out a minivan, a TRX version with like a 600, 700 horsepower engine, in a minivan. I can get behind that. That'd be some fun ass shit right there. You want to talk about sleeper? That's the ultimate sleeper. So sign me up for that. But I'm sitting back and I'm waiting for the, what do they call that? The power wagon. I think, Dodge is reintroducing the Power Wagon TRX. That's going to be a badass vehicle. Not a minivan, but still, hey, that's all I have to say about that.
I'll be happy to have a Toyota Sienna, and I'll wrap that sucker. I'll have that looking like it's straight out of RoboCop. It'll look great.
You're just sitting there going, oh my God, what are we even getting into? All right.
I've heard that the Model X is actually a glorified minivan. I don't know about you, Chris.
I'm not going to disagree. It kind of does look like, I don't know, sort of looks like a minivan. I don't like the way Teslas look. I just don't. I think the whole rounded curvature, and I have one and I drive it, but it's just more of a convenience thing right now. But I just don't like the way they look.
I love them.
I absolutely love them. You got a Model X. Like, you like the way that looks, don't you?
I got my Model 3, so it's a car.
Oh, okay. What did I say? Model X? My
Yeah,
mistake.
Model X is the SUV, and that actually just got discontinued too. You heard about that, right?
They discontinued why would
They
they
discontinue the Model S and the Model X as well. And they're
What are
switching
they coming out
all of
with
that
something new?
manufacturing into building robots, into building the Optimus Prime robot, which is absolutely crazy.
Wait. They got rid of their two, I think their two best-selling cars. I'm sure
the
Cybertruck's
Model
not
3 and the
number
Model
one.
Y are their two best sellers.
Model 3, but you said that they discontinued the Model 3.
No, the Model S, which is their larger
Oh,
sedan.
SS. I'm sorry. My
correct.
mistake.
Yep.
So the Model S and the Model X, they got rid of in their
That's right.
the Cybertruck and the Model Y. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Cybertruck is dead in the water. Those things are sitting on lots. I kind of want one, but I kind of don't want one. So
yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah. All right, nurses, in New York City, 15,000 nurses are entering, another week of this strike over pay and all this stuff going on. Now, actually, let me piggyback this because I know we're running out of time and I just want to hit this. They struck a deal, right? Is the government back open? Because I know there was a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Does this have anything to do with that?
this is a mixed bag. When I was researching this topic, I found kind of conflicting information. So for those of you who don't know, nurses in New York City are on strike as of February 3rd. There's roughly around 15,000. They're bringing in union scabs, people who to work these hospital units while the nurses are on strike. And nurse strikes are nothing new. They've happened as long as they've been happening, as long as there's been friction between the hospitals and the nursing staff themselves. But the question that's coming up is the raises that these hospitals are proposing over the next 4 years are much lower than the traditional offers that they provide. And the reason that these hospitals are providing these lower numbers is they were worried about the Affordable Care Act credits that most Americans are not getting. And of course, hospitals, when they don't get this income coming in, they're not able to pay their nurses as much, which is why nurses, their contracts come up every 4 years. That way it changes in time with all of the administrations. Now, in the research for this, some people have said the Affordable Care Act credits are reinstated again. Some people say that it haven't. I couldn't find any concrete news on whether or not those credits have been put back into place. And I'm hoping that they have been put back into place so that these hospitals now in New York City can say, hey, look, we see that we're going to get a little bit more income coming in. Let's get you guys off the picket line and let's get you guys back to work, because it's a disservice to everybody when there's a fight like this going over people's health care.
Yes, sir. All right, Stephen, you want to bring us home? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is probably a lot I could talk about, but we'll save that for next week. It's been wild, man. I just was consumed this weekend with our virtual training, which, by the way, if you guys missed that, we are going to come out with the recordings. It was 7 to 8 hours, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The recordings are all completely time-stamped, and we talk through the entire, basically what it means to become your own bank, take back control of your money. And we shared the majority of strategies that Chris, you, me, James, and our team implement and use every single day. So it was a lot of fun. I just was super busy with that over the weekend and wasn't completely keeping up on some of the news. It just feels like the news just changes daily. Like you hear something outlandish, something crazy, something wild, and literally by the next day it's completely gone and swept under the rug, and the next wild topic is there. And so sometimes it's hard to keep up with it all, but it's why I love this show, because even when I'm not paying attention, it lets me keep up and learn what is happening and get ready for the next week ahead. So I appreciate everybody hopping on. And James, way to bring some great topics this week. Chris, always great to hear your opinions on everything. And I thought it was a great show today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, I guess we could all hope, and maybe we'll get so lucky that Chevy will bring back the Astro van, and we'll call that a minivan.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Justin on here he's like, here's a minivan you would like. And he sent me, I think that's the Astro van, but yeah, that was a cool van. So anyway, to all you minivan lovers, let's put it out there to the universe that they bring back the Astro van. With that being said, folks, thanks for joining us. Join us this afternoon, 1 p.m. for Wealth Webinar, where we're going to be unpacking by term invest the difference, and is it right for you? We'll see you this afternoon.
Ow!